Grew up with my mom, got us trips to Disney, went to the water park, came down here to Florida on vacations. When I became homeless, I had started drinking and using drugs at the time.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to beat addiction because it becomes part of who you are.
Shannon had came up to me and she's told me about it. So did Daniel. And I was like, I'm already 27. I got a son, you know. I got to be able to provide for him, you know, from all the years that I've lacked on that.
What have you accomplished since beginning the Moving Forward program?
I've got my GED and I've also got enrolled into Westside VoTech. I'm going to start doing plumbing.
That's not happening by magic, okay? That is Jacob working the program, trusting the process, understand that he's been given an opportunity. Out there, he was going to remain a partially deaf, drunk, addicted person that very likely would have ended up dying on the streets.
So what are your next goals?
To have my own house, be able to have where my son can come over, I have my own vehicle, and I can go pick him up anytime. I can take him to school, do things that a parent should.
The guy's got a smile, and that means life is heading in the right direction.
Definitely. Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Lewis with Imagine Marketing, and we are joined by Pastor Scott, who is the founder and CEO of Matthew's Hope, as well as Jacob, who is a guest of Matthew's Hope. This podcast is produced, filmed, and edited by John Burkett with Imagine. Welcome to this week's episode of Straight Talk, No BS with Matthew's Hope, presented by Imagine Marketing. At Imagine Marketing, we put in the extra effort to craft a tailored strategy for success. We also offer photography, videography, and even podcast production services too. Book a free consultation today. In this episode, we will be introducing you to another one of the real faces of homelessness as Jacob shares his story with you. Thank you, Jacob, for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Jacob, can you share with us what led you to...
Before I'm going to interrupt you, this all still being taped, but this is going to be interesting because we actually have Jacob's mother is here.
We do.
And so, now I don't want you to hold that back. Okay, because we're on, because it's real important that we want to make sure she's going to be on our next podcast, and we want to see both your perspectives. Okay, and they may be wildly different, they may be close together. It doesn't matter. What matters is where we're going from here. But I think it's important for our audience to know, from your perspective, what your story is and where mom is coming from on the other. So at the same time, I don't know if I want to talk about my story from my mom. No, no pressure.
Here you go, Jacob. No pressure. Jacob, can you share with us what led you to becoming homeless?
It's like me to be homeless. It was
First of all, I actually want to, because some of us, or some people watch and some people listen. How old are you today?
27.
Okay. And how old were you when you became homeless?
21, 22.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay,
I just wanted to paint the picture for everybody.
Yeah, so becoming homeless, I was able to live at a house all the way up till I was 17. And then I ended up making the decision that I wanted to move in with my dad, who lived down here in Florida. And so I moved down here and just living at my dad's place. I was never really at the house or anything. So just ended up where they didn't want me to stay there because I wasn't really ever there. So I was back and forth going to Georgia to Florida. Going back from Georgia to Florida. And we ended up, or I ended up just...
Jacob, can you go back and describe your childhood and then eventually what led you to homelessness?
My childhood was pretty good. I grew up with my mom, and we had her. She really took care of us. She got us trips to Disney, went to the water park, came down here to Florida on vacations. She really took care of us. So the childhood was really good. Whenever I was about 8 years old, I had one stepdad at a time where I was abused and that went through. He ended up going to jail and everything, but life after that, I mean, it was amazing. I couldn't say it wasn't. Mom really took care of us.
Dude, I'm just curious. I'm just going to throw this out here. Our series stories are somewhat similar in a lot of ways with the stepfather part of it. I had multiples. One sexually abused me. Do you find that sometimes whatever the kind of abuse that is, and you don't have to get into those details, but do you find that still pokes in the back of your head sometimes?
No, not really. It doesn't affect me anymore. I haven't looked back at it really or anything, and I just really trying to move forward with everything. So
definitely. So take us to the point where you became homeless. What happened there?
When I became homeless, I had started drinking and using drugs at the time, and I was pretty bad on doing a lot of it. So I had a camper at the time, and it was one of my bosses that I was working with, and he noticed that I was on drugs and stuff like that or whatever, and he was like, I can't have you working here no more. So after that, just been living on the streets.
Derailed from there.
Yeah, it's in the streets. It's just, I'm walking on a sidewalk and then I'm getting tired. It's hitting late night, and I'm trying to go to sleep. But most of the time, whenever you're trying to go to sleep on the streets, like on the sidewalks or whatever, you're gonna get a cop come up to you and tell you, hey, you gotta move. So that was my main objective all the time, was like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep, but I'm only gonna get about 30 minutes of sleep, and then I gotta get back up and start walking again. So ended up trying to find a tent, and my mom helped me out with that, getting a tent. And I found the woods that was like secluded. I didn't really want to be in a camp or anything like that. I didn't want to be around people. So I went and stayed in the tent in the woods where nobody really was. And that's how I kind of...
So Jacob, you had what many would consider a good childhood with a supportive family, but drugs and alcohol derailed that. And Scott, for those that may not have experienced addiction, can you shed some light on how powerful that could be?
Yeah, well, I mean, and the first thing, and I don't think I've ever asked you, but I want to ask this question before I answer hers from this standpoint. Babe, do you feel that I know why I used, okay, but I'm wondering, was it more from just a recreational standpoint, or did you feel like you were trying to escape something?
Recreational. I used just because I was trying to have fun.
Okay, no, and that's fair. And the reason I bring that up is because anybody that follows us, is one of the things I tell people, that more often than not, addiction is not a cause for homelessness; it's a byproduct of homelessness. So I want the audience to know that there are cases where it's opposite of that. It became recreational. I want to have fun. I'm doing my thing. And then it turns into something a whole lot different. So, because I know that some of our followers are going to sit there and go, well, Scott, you tell us all the time that, well, here's the other instance, is it does create homelessness at times. So that's why I asked the question that way. I don't think people realize the how hard it is to beat addiction, because it becomes part of who you are. Just like you have to get up in the morning and eat breakfast. When I was using, I talk about it all the time, that homelessness and addiction really look very similar from this standpoint. When you're addicted, as I was, I'd get up in the morning and I just call it a bump. I'd do a little bump, get the morning started, and then I would have to do that throughout the day to maintain my ability. And I was a very functional addict. But for me to keep up the pace that I was doing, I had to continue to do that. And so that means you had to plan into your day, well, how am I going to go off and take another little hit of cocaine, what have you. And you're in constant search of, even subconsciously, where in homelessness, you get up in the morning, what do I eat? Am I going to get to eat? Once you're done eating, you're looking for lunch, dinner, from dinner, where do I possibly sleep tonight? It's the same type of cycle. And you get on this wheel, if you will, this hamster wheel that starts moving at its own power to where you can't even keep up with it. You've just got to keep feeding that, because once you don't, it's going to start feeling really lousy. And I tell people all the time, that third day of not using can get pretty harsh on your body, because again, it has become so you have this dual thing. Even when you know it's wrong for you, you start to figure that out. You realize the downside of that is, if I'm not doing this, here's where it's going to go. Fair? Yeah. So
Jacob, you shared a little bit about how, stressful or how hard it was to find sleep. Can you share with people what other experiences was like when you were living on the streets or in the woods?
Just trying to get, like you said, the food or the water. If you're trying to get water, you'd either have to go find a water spigot or something. So that was not always around. So, and you got to walk a lot. There's a lot of walking whenever you're out there. And unless you have a bike, but I don't have a bike. And it's just more difficult because I wasn't the type of person that was going to go out and ask for money, like stand on the side of the street and have a sign or anything like that. I couldn't do that. It's just me. And so I always had my mom, but so I would sometimes, I would get some food from my mom. Like she'd send me some money and I get food, but at the same time, I'd also get like alcohol, mainly alcohol.
Yeah.
And that it's kind of how I went by, but for other people it could be different because not a lot of people, or not some people, have their mom still or have their family that could help them, So
was it scary? I feel like you're so young and being out there, like just me even thinking myself being out there at 40 some years old, it would be scary. Did you ever feel scared? Or was it just something?
Just when you're out there, it's more of a survival instinct. You're like, survival instincts kick in. So like, I'm scared whenever I'm walking to my tent in the woods at nighttime because I had to go charge my phones, But, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing people walking in the woods, But it's a little scary.
Yeah. Scott, he had support from his mom, still offering him some support, but how uncommon is that?
It's not really, if there's a connection with the family still, it's not so much that it's uncommon, but often it's what prolongs the addiction and the time on the streets. It's one of those instances where we talk when helping hurts. And from a parental standpoint, I've seen this through my mom and what she's been through with my brother and what have you, who was, I don't want to say worse than I was, but I was one, I never took anything from my family. I was completely self-sufficient. I didn't ask for anything, didn't look for anything. Where my brother, on the other hand, now in his 50s, was up until this past year still calling my mom when he needed a few dollars. And it got to the point where, it was getting cold. He said, Mom, can you send me a jacket? But then he would ask, what kind of jacket you sending me?
Sure.
What he was doing is trying to figure out what the value of that jacket was, so that he could see what the value of it was and what he wanted to trade for or sell it for. And what often happened is she was actually feeding into the addiction. And as he said, yes, I may have gotten food, but here's the other thing. When he's drinking or you're drugging, you really don't need that much food. That food is not your priority if you stay stoned or drunk enough. But there's always this thing is what the intent. Only Jacob knows the intent was he consciously going to use that money in a way that his mom was not sending it for or not? And I don't know, only he knows that. But I think that subconsciously, when you get caught into addiction, a lot of times you're actually calling for what you need in the way of food or what have you. But now that you got the money in your hand, now you got money in your hand, and you can often end up doing something it was never intended to do.
Jacob, how were you first introduced to Matthew's Hope, and what were your first impressions?
I was homeless one day.
The first time or the second time?
Well, let's talk about both.
I was scrolling on my phone, and I kept calling a whole bunch of people that could probably help me out for what was it? I was trying to find a place that had a place for me to stay at. I was like, there's got to be somebody around here. And I called a few people, and they're like, we don't do that. We don't do that. And I was like, I don't know where to go. And so I heard about Matthew's Hope just by looking on my phone and seeing what it was. And got the directions, came over here. Is in 2022, whenever Brian was here.
Mm-hmm.
And he had put me in the system and everything. And I was coming here, getting food and everything that you guys help out with for a long time. So that's kind of how I figured out.
So you first started visiting Matthew's Hope for services in 2022, but didn't commit to the Moving Forward program until this year. What took so long?
Yeah, so I didn't know about it at the beginning. It's because I guess I was new, and I wasn't always going to Matthew's Hope. I wasn't always stayed a consistent Tuesday, Thursday, every single week type of person. I would try to find a job on People Ready or something like that.
Okay.
But then anytime I did have money, it's like I just don't need to go to Matthew's Home because I have money, so.
Sure.
Which we see a lot of. I mean, it's interesting. Jacob, you probably even have picked up on this now that you've been around as long as you have, is that our slowest time is at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
Because people if they get Social Security, get the check there, they get food stamps, whatever the case is. And what will happen is rather than stretch that out over the month and use it more wisely for a few days, they eat really well, possibly get a hotel room. Yep. And that kind of thing, and then fall right back into the cycle again. Yeah.
Scott, you mentioned the first time or the second time. What did you mean by that?
Well, what that really comes down to is Jacob took advantage of our daily services, and we have, guests that's all they ever do. They come in, they get a shower, occasional haircut, and they'll get some food and they'll eat what have you, hygiene, etc. So, but then he got to the point where it's like, wait a minute, maybe I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Then started taking full advantage of everything that we can offer him. And I don't want to get too ahead of it, but the boy's doing okay.
And Jacob, is it true that you're required to attend 90 meetings in 90 days when you started the Moving Forward program? What was that like?
It was nice being able to not just stay at one place all the time. I was able to get out and communicate, interact with people, and I really enjoyed that a lot. So
was it hard to commit to me when I see that 90 days and 90 meetings in 90 days? That's a lot. Was that hard to commit to?
I think when you got your mind right, it's not really hard.
And that's a fair answer. He said, when you get your mind right. I mean, there are people that when I suggest that, they go, oh, no, I can't do that. And you probably have seen that. You've been around long enough. You've seen people that we often will have people do 90 meetings in 90 days that don't even come out of an addiction, a traditional addiction such as drugs and alcohol. They have become addicted, whether they know it, to the lifestyle that they're in. Mm-hmm. They have gotten stuck in survival mode. And so the idea that, I love it when people tell me, well, no, I can't make that appointment. And I'm like, well, you're homeless, dude. What are you so busy doing? You're talking to your international trader. I mean, why can't you do this? And, like you said, when you decided, I always call it get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you start getting your head straight. It's a fairly easy commitment. And I think a worthwhile one.
So how was Moving Forward program described to you before you joined it?
how did it describe to me?
Yeah, like how did they explain it to you, or how did they present it to you?
So whenever I came into Matthew's Hope one day, I was doing services, and like I said, I didn't really know what the program was or anything like that. So Shannon had came up to me and she's told me about it. So did Daniel. They both talked to me about it, and that's whenever I kind of realized what it was and how it could help me. And I was stuck on I was still stuck on alcohol, stuck on marijuana, and that when they said that, and I was like, I'm 27 years old. I can make a change for myself, or I can just stay where I'm at for maybe the next few years that go by. But I'm already 27. I got a son, and I got to be able to provide for him, from all the years that I've lacked on that. I want to be able to try to be able to where he can come visit me at my house or something like that.
So you did it for yourself, but also your son. It sounds like you were ready to make a change.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason Daniel and Shannon approached him is we're constantly watching everybody that's there, and we try to identify people that we believe we see something in them that we believe is worth the approach of saying, hey, what do you think about this? Mm-hmm. And I don't want anybody to think that we're not equal to everybody. We really are. But whether he knows it or not, there was things that he started doing that made him stand out to where I'm sitting there going, keep an eye on that one. Not from a bad standpoint, but there's something going on in this kid. Keep an eye on this one. I think this one it is going to be a star type of thing.
And I know you guys are big on having them make the decision for themselves. Why is that so important?
Well, the problem, especially it was several of a lot of our upper staff, we've been through this, and we realized that it has to be your decision. And the truth is, as much as I like the fact that he wants to do this partially for his child, the other side of that is ultimately it has to be for you. It can't be for anybody else. It has to be a commitment you do for yourself. And what will happen is everybody else around you will benefit from your decision. Mm-hmm. It's just like I just had a guest quit the program Friday and has just spent the last 4 days burning up our phones and going on social media and telling everybody how terrible we are. But what happened is she got to a place where she felt she knew better than we did. And I'm not going to talk you out of leaving. Okay. I'll try to tell you how to leave. I try to tell her, hey, I'm out of town. Treat this like a job. How often you've heard that? Treat this like a job. And if you got to leave for whatever reason. But treat it like a job. Give it 2 weeks notice so that you don't burn that bridge and so that you have people that are going to speak on your behalf. And for whatever reason, I can't tell you why this person made the decision, but I can tell you that she has spent the better part of the weekend drinking and writing belligerent text to people and what have you. And that's all part of addicts. Again, I want to clear this up. To me, an addict can be someone who's never touched a drug or alcohol. They're addicted to that lifestyle. They've got caught into that. And if something goes wrong, it's everyone else's fault except theirs. Yeah. Right. And I know one of the things that they go through in those programs you go to is owning your own crap. Yeah. Okay. And the beauty of owning your own crap is that nobody can use it against you anymore. This particular person is trying to use anything she knows about me to try to hurt me one way or hurt Matthew's Hope. I had taken my stepfather's name after he molested me. And after I got out of the service, I went back to my birth name. And so what's interesting is I don't know if I may have told her, she learned, there's a lot about me on the internet, that my last name used to be Pyland. So now she keeps sending me a note. Hey, Scott Pyland. And I'm going, what is it you want? What are you trying to do? That is, I know her as a person is better than that. I know that her hurt and wherever she's at, That's just, she's lashing out. Okay. And sometimes when you self-sabotage like that, I don't know if you've ever done that, but self-sabotage like that, you still have to find someone to blame, and it's not going to be you.
Yeah. Jacob, how has the medical team at Matthews Hope been able to help improve your life? I heard you and Scott talking about hearing aids.
Yes,
Is that something that they helped you with?
Amazingly. Yes. They're amazing.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So they have got me my hearing aids. Yes. I was born part deaf, and I've had hearing aids in the past. My mom, she got, I think, like 2 pair before. And so just being homeless ended up where I ended up losing one of them. And, you know, but being here at the program, they got me my hearing aids, and they are also working on my teeth.
Thanks.
My amazing teeth. And this coming up Monday, they're actually going to put the front one in.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
Yay.
After that, we're going to try to figure out how to get him a decent haircut.
I like this hair. It's fun.
I'm busting your chops. No, again, but here I want people to understand something is that's not happening by magic. Okay. That is Jacob working the program, trusting the process, understand that he's been given an opportunity to do some things that out there he was going to remain a partially deaf, drunk, addicted person that very likely would have ended up dying on the streets, one way or the other. Either someone was going to take his life, he was going to be one of those people one night that stepped out in front of a car, or get on his bike and get hit by a car. This past week, we lost 4 of our homeless guests to various things that happened. And it wasn't even anything they were doing reckless. When you're out living on the streets, it's real easy to have something happen to you. Or he was going to OD. Or if he was really fortunate, he was going to rot out his liver, continue to kill his brain cells, and then live to be an old age. And you're going to see those people. You see them every day at our program. And, I tell people all the time, I go, and I'll ask people, how old are you? And they'll say, I'm 35 or whatever. Well, you got plenty of time, but your time is narrowing to get it together. Because when they finally want to get it together at 60, their options are very, very limited.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he started recognizing this really at a prime age.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to state that the nurses, they go out of their way to take care of us, take care of the guests that come in. They really do a great job. Like if somebody has like me, I had a tooth that had to be pulled out, and they went out of their way and they drove me to the place where I had to get my teeth taken out. And they did that. And that was amazing. So
It's really sweet and special.
Yep.
Because I can't imagine if you didn't have that medical team there, what would happen.
And I think one of the things that does, again, separate Matthews Hope from many organizations is we don't just give them a bus pass and say, show up someplace. We don't just say, hey, tell us what they said. Our folks are walking with you along the way to make sure that he gets the best possible care, that he understands the care he's getting and what he has to do on his end to make sure that whether it's his hearing aids, what are they, because I wasn't sure, I've been in the loop, but I wasn't sure how far they were going with your teeth.
So I know they're just going to be doing the front tooth.
Okay.
This main one right here.
Yep.
But they pulled out about 5 of them.
In the back?
Because they were rotting pretty bad. Yeah. And I had like an infection up here on this one. So then I heard I used to look up on Google, if you get a tooth infection, you could die from that. And
You can.
A lot of people
it can
don't
go right
know
to your
that.
brain.
Right.
Yep.
Dental health is so important because people don't realize, first off, your brain's here, your mouth is here.
Right there.
It's not a long way to go.
Right.
And you start spreading that poison through your body. And, so just basic, some of the things we deal with are just basic hygiene issues that a lot of people don't recognize are important just for their long-term health. So I'm looking forward to, he's already got a great smile.
I can't wait. You said Monday.
Yeah, my dad.
Whenever I come through, he doesn't get to see me as often as I'd like to see him, but he'll give me a smile, and I'm going, the guy's got a smile, and that means life is heading in the right direction.
Definitely.
Yep.
So, Jacob, you currently live in one of the Matthews Hope transitional housing properties. What was it like when you learned you were going to have a roof over your head again?
I loved it. From being in a tent, say it's raining outside or harsh conditions, like it's a hurricane coming, you're in a tent and you hear the rain, you feel the thunder, and the lightning's right there, so you're just kind of worried, sick. But when you're inside of a house, it's really comforting. You're able to make your own food and just
Sleep in
a bed, not have all those like worries that are on the outside. Who's gonna steal my stuff? What's gonna happen to this? So
I often compare my time on the street was very similar to my time when my children were first born. You're asleep, but your radar's up, so you're almost I call it almost like a beach. You ever fall asleep on the beach? You're kind of aware of what's around you, but you're asleep. It's similar to that, which again, you're not getting the proper rest because you're always, is a raccoon going to take off with my stuff? Someone going to show up here and take my stuff or want to take me? I wasn't a tent guy. I was behind the dumpster guy. I was more of just tuck away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
It's weird, isn't it, to think about that?
Well, I was back there and the dumpster driver started pulling up.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, so I had to take off.
That could be very dangerous.
You got to end up on Law and Order.
Yeah,
There's his body in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not making fun of people that it had happened to. So before I always tell, I have to talk to camera sometimes, make sure people aren't writing me nasty grams as I call them. No, but it is true though. You sit there and you go, whoever would have thought that is part of your day would be, oh, damn, the dumpster guy's here.
Yeah.
I got to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Jacob, what have you accomplished since beginning the Moving Forward program?
I have accomplished a lot.
A couple big ones.
Yes. I have got my GED.
Congratulations.
That's my main one. And I've also got enrolled into Westside VoTech.
Okay.
That's a school, and I'm going to start doing plumbing.
That is very exciting.
And plumbers can make good money.
Yes.
You know who owns our building, right?
I think it's Heichel, right?
You know what he is? A plumber.
Plumber, right. Yep.
Okay. Yep. And that's his second house.
Yeah.
His other house is down on the beach, down Gulf Coast.
Right.
He's a plumber.
Yeah.
He's doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, these trades are amazing. I love seeing it. So what are your next goals? You're going to go to school to be a plumber, and what's the bigger goals? What do you have for yourself?
To get a house. That's the main thing, to have my own house, be able to have where my son can come over. I have my own vehicle and I can go pick him up anytime. I can take him to school. I can, do things that a parent should do,
Mm-hmm.
So that.
And Scott, you often point out the majority of people that become homeless become addicts after they are homeless. But you also say that there are some exceptions. And Jacob is that exception, and also an example of why those exceptions shouldn't be written off either, right?
You shouldn't. I mean, if you were to come in, I can never say this word, and I'm not going to trust that you can either. I've known you a long time. What is that?
Don't make me say it.
I call it the N sign.
I don't know.
Ampersand. Yeah, that. Those of you could hear our producer, John. I can't get it out of my mouth.
And they always try to make me say words I can't say.
Well, yeah. Well, can you say, no, I'm not even going to go there.
And to be fair, they are big words. My son goes to MIT, so we do have some type of seeds in the family.
We know there's a seed in there somewhere. Yeah.
I just can't say some.
It skips every other generation.
Anyway,
it's all
this
his father.
About me.
It's all his father.
This is about Jacob. Let's reel it back.
My son's at MIT, but I can't say this word. No, I'll see the ADD just took off. I just shot off somewhere. right there.
So Jacob is the exception to
Yeah,
the rule.
it's people come to my office all the time, or follow us on Facebook or what have you, or follow me on social media, and they'll make comments sometimes about, well, they would say something like Jacob. They say, well, he brought it on himself. He could have stopped. He could have done that, but he chose to continue to do this, and so he made his bed, let him sleep in it. When people come to me and say things like that, and I go, and because are you suggesting for a minute that Jacob's life is worth less than someone else's, or the person who's spouting that trash out of their mouth?
Yeah.
I am not Jacob. I can't get that. I hate when people say, I understand. That is the worst, stupidest thing. That ranks right up there where he's in a better place. As a pastor, when you're at a funeral, don't tell the spouse that just lost their spouse he's in a better place. They're not interested in that crap right now, okay? Give them a hug, shut up. When you look at this stuff, you have to realize that God created us equal and in his image. And I truly believe that. And I can't begin to explain why one person went down this path or why the other. However, what I can tell you is that we should never be holier than thou. We should never judge people by what we think we see. And when you think in homelessness a lot, this doesn't necessarily relate to him specifically, but when people start judging from the cover, they're making a very bad mistake, because some of the greatest people on our planet, if you look down on paper, you go, they look batshit crazy. Okay. And they invented such and such. I look at someone like Jacob and I say, and again, I can't say I understand. I hate that. This is where I was going with that, is because I can't get that deep in his head and heart to understand what he was going through. I can empathize. Our stories are similar in some ways. I can empathize, but that's as far as that can go. And that said, I believe with all my heart that if Jacob continues on the path he is going, that he will not only be a plumber, he will own a plumbing company, and this will be part of his story, and he will hire people just like him. One of my favorite professors in seminary said, Scott, you're going to meet a lot of Christians that have scabs on their knees, meaning they pray a lot. He goes, but the ones you really want to look for is the ones with dirt under their fingernails, meaning those are the people that are making things happen. And those are people that God is using. And I truly believe with the very heart of my soul that Jacob is going to be used in a powerful way. We're going to work on his raising his voice a little bit more and speaking more, because you know what, man, you need to be loud and proud.
Yeah.
What you have accomplished so far, you're not done. Don't think you're near the finish line, okay? But you're well ahead of most people that we dealt with over the last 20 years, and 15 as Matthew's Hope. And I'm in your corner, man. I'm your cheerleader. I'm out there cheering for you because I know you're going to do this, and I know your mom's your cheerleader. Okay, I came across your mom on social media. She made a comment about you and how proud she was and how far you had come in the time. And I reached out to her and I told her who I was. Said, hey, never expecting that she is actually going to be our next guest.
Yes.
And I would tell our audience that don't be surprised if her story sounds a little different than his, because again, he was an adolescent. She was an adult. She's going through her stuff that may or may not have effect on his stuff and how he deals with it. And the reason I bring that up is because I realized into my addiction that I was trying to escape. It started out just hanging out, and all of a sudden it's like, God, when I'm high, I don't think about being molested. When I'm high, I don't think about being physically and mentally abused. When I'm high, I don't think about the number of marriages my mother and my father had, my father taking off and all that. So it's a lot subconscious and conscious thing. And I think that over time, as you grow, and you will continue to grow, I'm 63 years old. I'm still trying to figure out when I'm going to act like an adult.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying. But I think that your story is going to be one that can be used in a powerful way.
Absolutely.
And I would tell you, never forget where you came from,
Definitely.
but don't wear it like an anchor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's two types of people. There's two people that I call that big pile of shit.
Yeah.
Yes, the pastor just said shit. Okay, relax. That they just drag around with them. And what I tell people, let's gather that pile up and use it to push ourselves over the fence. And that's what you're doing. And I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
It was so awesome. So in next week's episode, we are going to talk with your mom about her perspective of your journey. What role has she played in your life the last few years, and how has some tough love benefited you?
She has been there for me a lot. She has taken care of me more than the last 2 years. Her tough love was, for me, was just, she's not going to send me no money. Not getting no money. And the part where I need a place to stay, oh, Mom, I don't have a place to stay, you know? Well, tough love, you know? You're going to have to stay out, figure out another way, you know? Because you chose this decision, I have to figure a way to fix that, you know? So,
Do you see the benefit in that now?
yes.
It's easier on this side to see the benefit of what took place.
Yeah.
Yeah. During,
Right.
how could she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned your son a few times. Can you share more about that and how you have been reunited with him?
That is my light in my world.
I can tell your face just lights up when you talk about
Yeah,
him.
he's awesome. He's in school right now. He's in kindergarten. He's 6 years old. He's about to start playing soccer. So that's really cool.
Mhm.
He is amazing, and I'm really thankful for for Brittany, which is the mom of him. You know, because while I've been trying to fix my life and everything, she's been supportive enough to, you know, take care of him, and you know, while I'm doing whatever I got to do to fix myself.
Mhm.
And I'm just really thankful for her, you know. And yeah, he is amazing.
That's exciting. I'm excited
Yeah.
for you guys to keep growing in that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to throw, this is put on my dad hat for a second. Make sure that she knows that you're grateful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because that can be a lot to take on when, you know, having children at a young age is tough anyhow. When you throw in all the other stuff that can happen, I think it's important, especially it's going to be important as you both move forward in your lives independently, that relationship is strong for the sake of your son.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of relationships where the parents aren't together, that doesn't happen. And it's so important. Or we often end up raising the next generation of homelessness.
Yeah. Do you ever think, Jacob, about where you might be today if Matthew's Hope didn't exist?
Probably still in a tent. I never even knew about Salvation Army until Matthew's Hope, so I probably wouldn't be in Salvation Army, but most likely in a tent, still trying to figure out what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing for me was honestly trying to find a job, which is kind of weird, but I mean, I would try to do the people ready thing, which is like a daily labor, and I was trying to find a true job, you know, like how I'm trying to do plumbing, you know,
Okay.
but I didn't really understand how long it actually takes to get into plumbing, you know. It actually takes like classes and things that you got to do to, like, I have experience. Up in Georgia, I worked as doing plumbing for my dad's company,
Okay.
but that's why I'm trying to do that. So
Yeah. That's good. Is there anything else you would like to say to the team and volunteers at Matthew's Hope and also the donors that support this ministry?
I just want to say thank you guys so much. They are amazing. What they do for the homeless people, for people like me that are in the program. They are awesome. You guys are awesome. And that's really all I got to say is thank
You're
you.
loved, man. You're loved.
Yes.
Thank
Do you want to say anything before we wrap up? I feel like there's tears coming.
I've said it before. I'm proud of you. And don't let yourself down. Don't let yourself down. You've got this. You got this. You are surrounded by my team. Our team is amazing, and they're going to do everything in their part to make sure that you have all the tools you need in your toolbox to survive and thrive in life. And so just hang in there. I never had boys. You know, mine were all girls. But so I can't even imagine what a handful you must have been. But I want you to know, again, I'll remind you, I'm in your corner. We're in your corner. Just do your thing. Do your thing. Right.
And before we wrap up and your mom takes the seat that you're in, is there anything you would like to say to her?
Mom, you are awesome. You are amazing. I love you. You've been there through everything that I've been through. You have been there for me, and you never gave up. I really appreciate it of you. So, thank you.
As we mentioned, next week we will be joined by Jacob's mom to hear her perspective. I'm trying not to cry. I'm a mom. and your story is just so beautiful, and you're so beautiful, Jacob. You're doing amazing, and so much more to come. But before we are joined by Jacob's mom next week to hear her perspective of Jacob's journey and transformation with the help of Matthew's Hope. So don't miss that. Thank you guys for listening, watching, sharing, and donating and volunteering, because there's more people who we can help who are just like Jacob.